By 1965, the situation along the Cambodian border had reached a critical turning point. The neutrality of the region was increasingly threatened.
For generations, the rhythms of the village remained unchanged, a peaceful existence defined by the harvest and
The new regime declared Year Zero, forcing the population into grueling agricultural labor to purify the nation.
Along this dense jungle frontier, the Vietnamese border guards maintain a constant vigil. Their patrols are crucial for detecting early warnings and ensuring sovereignty.
Along the Cambodian border, the Khmer Rouge continued their rigorous training, a clear signal of their escalating military power in the region.
The situation in the region was becoming increasingly volatile. The leaders knew that any move near the identified location could trigger a wider conflict.
The new society required absolute purification. The leadership demanded total subservience to the Angkar, forging a revolutionary state.
The border regions remain a tinderbox. Contested Zone A has seen a sharp increase in ceasefire violations.
the Khmer Rouge, brutalized by years of civil war, moved with chilling precision towards the Vietnamese border. The distant movement shattered the morning calm. As the figures drew closer, a cold certainty spread among
The call that is rapid response is brought.
The invasion began without warning. Backed by overwhelming force, the Khmer Rouge streamed across the border, initiating a brutal war.
The first clashes were brutal. As the thatched roofs burned, it became clear that this conflict would
Spirits. As the threat emerged, the Vietnamese forces rapidly deployed, creating a secure corridor for the civilians. The ongoing conflict has forced thousands to abandon their homes, seeking safety wherever they can find it. The humanitarian cost is immense.
The primary thrust of the Khmer Rouge offensive focused on these three corridors, aiming to isolate the capital.
This was the essence of the Khmer Rouge's hit-and-run strategy. Strike fast, then melt back into the jungle, using the terrain to their advantage.
As the detailed reports flooded in, it became clear this was no drill. The escalation was immediate and the response decisive.
The Vietnamese High Command mobilized its reserves. These columns, complete with heavy logistical support, advanced steadily toward the border.
Control of the border region remained fiercely contested, with neither the blue nor the red faction able to secure a decisive advantage.
This small village, Ba Chuk, near the Cambodian border, is significant as the site of a brutal massacre.
The evidence laid bare before them painted a horrifying picture of the atrocities committed against the civilian population. The leaders faced an impossible choice: concede territory or risk a full-scale conflict with their northern neighbors.
A consensus was reached. This decisive action marked the turning point of the campaign.
Discipline was paramount. As the officers finalized the strategy, the soldiers ensured every weapon was ready for the impending conflict.
In December of 1978, the Vietnamese launched their counteroffensive. Column by column, the organized forces crossed. The resistance quickly faltered. As the Khmer Rouge units lost cohesion, the momentum decisively shifted, allowing the opposition to advance.
When the fighting came through the village, all we could do was hide and watch. We just hoped that when the tanks left, we would still have a home. Securing the main supply routes was paramount. By establishing hard checkpoints and turning back unauthorized vehicles,
this rapid advance demonstrated the principle of operational depth, bypassing pockets of resistance to strike deep into the Cambodian theater.
The collapse was swift and brutal. With supply lines severed and the high command in disarray, effective resistance became impossible.
The primary objective was stabilization. Here we see the troops providing vital sustenance and direction to the Cambodian populace.
With calculated precision, the organized columns of the Vietnamese military advanced deep into Cambodian territory. By late 1978, the writing was on the wall. The Khmer Rouge leadership initiated a full retreat. On January 7, 1979, after years of brutal rule, the Khmer Rouge regime finally fell.
With the regime's collapse in 1979, the systematic removal of Khmer Rouge symbols began.
After weeks in hiding, the first signs of life returned. They carried the heavy burden of the past and the faint hope of a future.
Stabilization efforts begin with visible security. These patrols are tasked with creating a secure environment.
The Khmer Rouge remnants vanished into the dense jungle, creating an immediate and serious insurgency risk for the fragile peace. The shifting balance of power in Southeast Asia is driven by economic influence and strategic alliances.
The international community has responded swiftly to the escalating situation in the region. Observers from key nations have emerged. The long-term consequences were undeniable. Decades of involvement had crippled the sector, leading to significant...
The Cambodian people wasted no time. Even as the dust settled, they began the arduous task of rebuilding their homes and their lives.
Here we see the Vietnamese soldiers conducting essential weapons training with local security forces, a vital step in regional stabilization efforts.
Beginning in 1979, the data remained relatively stable for decades. However, the long-term impact has...
The diplomatic pressure was immense. With the deadline approaching, the fragile peace began to show signs of cracking under the strain.
The organized withdrawal of Vietnamese forces begins. These troops, experienced and well-disciplined, move accordingly.
With the formation of these new institutions, Cambodia began the arduous process of reconstruction. Diplomacy,
Where the roar of battle once reigned, silence now returns. But the cost of that silence is etched forever in these fields.
Decades may pass, but the memories remain. Here, divided by experience, yet
The arrow clearly indicates the main thrust of the invasion. This sector, known as the Eastern Front, ultimately decided the outcome of the war.
The successful implementation of Protocols 15 and 52 has stabilized the region. This animation clearly illustrates.
Therefore, as these scales demonstrate, regional stability is not merely an aspiration, but an achievable reality
The
that
data confirms that regional cooperation is the bedrock of lasting stability. This ensures significant economic benefits for the entire area.
Ultimately, the arena reveals the true self. We are merely witnesses to the endless pursuit of victory. These remaining Khmer Rouge strongholds near the Thai border continue to pose a significant threat. As the map shows, the situation remains volatile. The shift to counterinsurgency proved difficult. These cautious patrols were designed to secure the rural areas, yet often
Guerrilla warfare relies on speed and surprise. Hit the enemy hard, then fade back into the jungle before they can retaliate.
Recognizing the shift in enemy defenses, the commanders adapted. They abandoned the southern approach, choosing instead to utilize the river crossing to the north.
As the organized assistance demonstrates, the Vietnamese forces played a critical humanitarian role, offering much-needed medical aid to the villagers.
these convoys transport critical provisions, fuel, and water, ensuring the forward operating bases remain supplied.
The increased surveillance along the 44th parallel has become a significant regional concern. As the diplomats clashed, the international community held its breath. The stakes, experts agreed, had never been higher for regional stability.
The long-term presence in Cambodia, while securing the border, carried significant political weight. The cost, as analyzed by
With the signing of the accords, the focus shifted to state rebuilding. Advisors met with the Cambodian authorities to map out the future.
As the schools reopen their doors, symbolized by this simple ribbon cutting, the long process of social recovery, crucial infrastructure development is underway. These dedicated engineers are utilizing heavy machinery to ensure the new roadway meets modern standards.
Their ranks broken, the Khmer Rouge fighters scattered into the dense jungle, marking the rapid decline of their power and influence in the region. The dawn of the 1980s marked a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict.
Facing mounting pressure, the delegation made it clear that any further aggression would be met with severe economic consequences.
The orderly transition of forces was crucial to maintaining operational readiness. As one unit rotated out, building the capacity of local security forces is crucial.
Move up! Secure the perimeter!
These exercises are vital.
Cautious normalization is underway. With the gates reopened, trade between the communities slowly resumes, bringing a fragile hope for the future.
The scars of conflict are fading. Where tanks once rolled, life now returns.
We gather here today to remember the past, the sacrifices made on these very grounds, and the enduring cost of war.
These conversation circles are vital, a chance for the survivors to finally share their stories.
We gather here to remember those we lost.
As the map divided, NATO and the Warsaw Pact solidified the new global order. This isn't just a temporary slump. The structural damage here will have lasting consequences for everyone.
The gradual reduction, as illustrated here, shows a significant drawdown. If the remaining forces meet the deadline,
Through robust frameworks in law, education, and health, the foundation of stable governance was laid.
Following the recent instability, order has now been fully restored at the checkpoint, ensuring calm and efficient processing.
The history of this conflict is etched into this timeline. But remember, true understanding comes only through diligent study.
Cultural memory is not just history. It is the living breath of those who came before us, guiding us still. The successful demarcation of the Vietnam-Cambodia border marks a significant achievement, ensuring lasting peace. As the symbols of conflict subside, the difficult work of reconciliation begins. This level of regional cooperation is crucial. It is the cornerstone upon which we will build a future of stability.
Transition is a landscape all its own. We carry the weight of where we've been, even as we build where we're going.
The harvest is abundant, and our communities are stronger than ever. This is the true measure of our resilience. In this hallowed ground, we find the enduring legacy of those who served. We will remember them.
The expedition followed this path precisely, arriving at the coordinates marked X. This inscription clearly verifies the date of the discovery.
Strategy dictates that every military action has profound economic consequences, often leading to a collapse of internal structures. When the scales are balanced, when cost equals outcome, we must ask ourselves, is the value truly equivalent?
With the dawn comes the realization that while barriers exist, the human spirit knows no bounds. This historic handshake between Vietnam and Cambodia symbolizes a new era of normalization.
For years, the region was defined by bloodshed and division. It was only through extensive negotiation that the era of stability could begin. When those who served and those they protected come together, the bonds of community heal the wounds of the past.
The journey towards healing begins not with forgetting the past, but with recognizing our shared humanity. The seasons turn, a relentless cycle. Yet, the true measure of our time here is found in that which endures.
In conclusion, the evidence presented here paints a definitive picture of the events.
As demonstrated in Phase 1, the encirclement was decisive. This highlights strategic lesson 1, the critical importance. Here, the border is more than just a line. It is a testament to lasting vigilance, 24 hours a day.
Peaceful trade routes are the bedrock of global economic ties, ensuring steady growth and mutual prosperity for all involved nations. Even here, where lines divide us, the universal language of play reminds us that our shared humanity is stronger than any barrier.
And so the book closes, but our duty remains. We must remember the past, for only then can we truly move forward.
The final rays of the sun signal not just the close of day, but the definitive end of an era.
We gather here today to pay our respects to the fallen. As these colors are lowered, we remember their sacrifice and dedication.
This route, established centuries ago, was crucial for trade, but it also brought unforeseen conflicts to the region.
The traditional view of borders as barriers is obsolete. As we move forward, cooperation transforms these lines.
The field is quiet now. The fighting is done, but the cost, the true cost of victory, will echo through these hills forever. As the map stabilizes, the critical geopolitical impact becomes clear. Control over the South China Sea is central to the balance of power in the region. True peace is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of calm within it. When we find our balance, the world aligns around us.
For the agent, it was just another quiet night on the line, ensuring the safety of the nation.
And so, the final piece of the puzzle falls into place. The truth, once obscured by time.
And that, ultimately, is the legacy they left behind. A legacy we are still struggling with today.
The impact of these digital battles extends far beyond the screen, redefining the very nature of conflict in the 21st century.